All right, so yeah, Ravens, Titans, tough teams to bet because the Ravens have just been so good lately, blowing pretty much everyone out, and then the Titans with Ryan Tannehill just continue to kind of defy expectation. Right now, the line is Ravens by 9.5, 54% of the bets, 52% of the money on Baltimore. Total dropped from 48.5 to 47 as we record this Wednesday evening. 62% of the bets on the under, 79% of the money on the under, driving that one down. Any initial thoughts on this one, Stuck?
Oh, yeah. I'll try to keep it within 3 to 4 minutes. Injury-wise, Ravens are stupid healthy. Mark Ingram, I think he should go. He's the only one you really have to worry about. Titans, Dory Jackson, it's really an important injury. He's questionable, didn't practice today. And Jayon Brown, one of their best linebackers, he didn't practice today. Two important injuries to keep your eye on. Potential weather, too, which I think is driving this under down. Two heavy run teams. The Titans are really good against the run. And the interesting thing here from a scheme perspective is Dean Pease, the Titans defensive coordinator, used to be the Ravens defensive coordinator, went to the Super Bowl. And Greg Roman, the Ravens offensive coordinator, used to be the 49ers offensive coordinator when they faced each other in the Super Bowl when it was Kaepernick versus the Ravens. And the 49ers had a ton of success offensively that game. But Pease has seen this, similar type of offense with a mobile quarterback. And the Titans have done well against mobile quarterbacks this year. Held Josh Allen down, held Deshaun Watson. Now, obviously, Lamar Jackson is in a different stratosphere. And as a Ravens fan, one of the things that I was happy to see with facing the Titans is that the Titans haven't played us before. And all these AFC teams, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Patriots, they've all played the Ravens early in the year. So you have that advantage of seeing the Ravens once before. The Titans don't have that. So what happens when you play the Ravens? You don't play an offense like this. You're not used to Lamar Jackson's speed, and they hit you in the mouth. And then they go up, they get a lead, and then you can't run the ball. Teams only ran the ball 21 times per game against the Ravens. On average, that's by far the fewest in the NFL. You can't run the ball. You're forced to pass. You're playing from behind, and then they blitz you. And they blitz 55% of the time, and they can man you up on the outside and get after the quarterback, make you one-dimensional. And then the other side, they just keep running the ball and then controlling the clock, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. And your defense gets exhausted, and then it's over. Snowball effect. So can you stay in it early is the question. And that's probably what will determine this over-under. It'll determine who covers the game. And I don't necessarily know if I know the answer. I mean, I would side with the Ravens from everything that I've seen so far. But the Titans have been good against the run. And like I said, Pease has seen this. They do have some bulk up front. They do have some fast linebackers. But it's just this is a unique scheme. And they haven't seen it. And no one's really stopped it yet this year. Ravens are 18-3, by the way, with Lamar Jackson as a starter. It's going to come down to, can the Titans slow down the Ravens early? And I think the Ravens can hit their tight ends. The Titans do struggle. Kenny Vaccaro doesn't really cover well. So I think the tight ends are going to be a problem for the Titans as well. And the other side of the ball, and I think this line's about spot on. I make it right around 10. And obviously huge home field, huge kicker advantage. Tucker in that stadium versus a guy who's yet to kick a field goal this season for the Titans or any team, which is amazing. And the Titans, look, they've been awesome in the red zone, but so have the Ravens. These are two best red zone offenses in the NFL, but Ravens are really good red zone defense. Titans are not. So I think the Ravens have an advantage there. And then if you get down to it, on the other side of the ball with Tannehill, he's amazing year, absolutely amazing year. His numbers with play action, and this is the play action bowl. These are two of the top play action offenses in the NFL. Stupid good. And Tannehill's completion percentage is almost 10% higher, almost 6 yards per attempt higher with play action, almost 14 yards per attempt. League high 143.3 quarterback rating using play action. So, I mean, this guy's the guy who led the NFL in passer ratings. Only one of three quarterbacks in NFL history to complete at least 70% of his passes with 9+ yards per attempt. However, he didn't face a single defense ranked in the top 10 in pass defense efficiency. Not one during the regular season. The first one he did was New England last week, and he went 8 of 15 for 72 yards. So, he did have the highest rate of dropbacks, holding the ball for 2.5 seconds or more, about 64%. Part of that is the play action. But he did lead the league in quarterback rating in those situations. But again, he hasn't been playing elite secondaries, which the Ravens have. And because of that play action, because he holds the ball sometimes a little long, he's been sacked on a league-high 31% of dropbacks.
Yep.
So that's a lot. And the Titans' offensive line, number 32 in the league in adjusted sack rate. Well, that's not great against the Ravens. Ravens defense that blitzes on 55% of down. So they should get to him a bunch. Wouldn't be surprised if they force a fumble, force a bad throw. a bad pick. So it's, and on the other side, the Ravens are number one pass blocking efficiency unit at a league low 77 pressures. So 77. The next lowest is the Chiefs at 111. Both their tackles are top 10 in pass blocking grade on PFF, and Stanley, they're all pro, is number one. So, I think that the Ravens are going to get a ton of pressure. So what this comes down to, and their corners can match up on the outside. I don't think there's any issues there. They can just man them up. What this comes down to is the Ravens' run defense against Henry, and how good of a day can Henry have. He's on fire. He's close to 400 yards the past 2 weeks. The Ravens' run D, some of the season-long metrics, they don't look great, but dig a little deeper. The Ravens' run defense, when healthy on the defensive line, which means Brandon Williams, Pierce, and Pecco, who they signed, all play, they've allowed 4.0 yards per carry. That would be 7th in the NFL. Without them, 27th. Look no further than the Browns game. Chubb, first time they met, they didn't have Pecco then. Williams sat out. He was hurt. The Browns ran wild, I think, for 200 yards. Second meeting, they ran like 20 times for 40 yards.
Yeah.
They've also made some personnel moves at linebacker. They've used a lot less of Onwuasor, and they've used more of Josh Bynes. And, they signed Josh Bynes and LJ Fort. They're using different personnel on safeties, and they've just improved their run defense a ton. The other thing to note is Henry is doing a lot of his damage on outside zone toss plays. He's averaging like 6.5 yards per carry on those plays. Ravens defense only allows 3.4, one of the best in the NFL. They're really fast on the edges. So they're going to blitz. They're going to get the Tannehill. They're going to get a ton of pressure in the backfield. Their run defense has been a lot better because of Pecco and Williams and Pierce, that force in the middle. The question is, with Henry, can he get to the second level? Because the Ravens are blitzing, and this is where the weakness would be. Can he break through? And if he does, he's going to go for 80. Because you have Marcus Peters, who wouldn't want to tackle my girlfriend running the ball. My wife? I guess.
Wife? You want to edit that one out? Or
Earl Thomas doesn't want to tackle anymore. So, you saw that with the 49ers sometimes. When they got outside edge, Marcus Peters missed a tackle or Thomas missed a tackle. So can Henry break through? But I think the Ravens' run defense is a lot better than most people are giving it credit for. It's all the personnel moves they made. It's a healthy Pierce. It's a healthy Williams. They're great against those toss outside zone plays. And look, one of the things the Titans have done so well, number one, score in the red zone, play action passing. But look, they haven't played great defenses. They haven't played great pass defenses. That outside zone run, all those things the Ravens can neutralize. But more than that, the Titans are just wearing teams down with Henry. Yep. Their second half, they're just blowing up because these defenses are tired of tackling Henry, and the Titans have the ball, and they're just well, guess what? The Ravens control the ball better than any team in the NFL. That's not going to happen. The Ravens defense is not going to get tired here. The Ravens are as much of a ball control offense as any team in the NFL. So there's a lot of things working against the Titans here. Again, huge field goal advantage for Ravens. 2 excellent punters, which could help the under as well. That's my 8-minute rant. Try to go 3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. I think it's tough to the Titans have just kind of defied everything to the point where it's tough to feel confident about a bet. But I would lean Ravens and the under. And it's not all of those points and the Ravens over their weighted pass DVOA, which again it weights the more recent games. So Marcus Peters is going to be factored in more. They're number one in weighted pass DVOA. They're number one in schedule adjusted efficiency against the pass.
Well, they did Jimmy Smith too for the first 5 weeks. So
right, and the Patriots were number 3. So now you're putting Tannehill in a situation where you mentioned it. They're going to blitz and kind of sacks are a possibility. He's also number 8 of the 8 quarterbacks in the playoffs in terms of negative plays, which are sacks, interceptions, and fumbles. 12.4% of his plays, negative plays. So, and then he's 6th in third down rate, only better than Rodgers and Wilson among these 8 quarterbacks. So, if the game is on Tannehill, yeah, it's going to be tough. And seeing how the Ravens have played this year, that's generally this is a tougher matchup. This is a tough matchup for the Titans. And I think the fact that the Ravens have tight ends, something the Patriots don't have, does stress their defense a little more.
I mean, Rashaan Evans struggles in coverage too. They might not have Jayon Brown, their linebackers, so it's just not great. I think the Titans' offensive numbers are just a little inflated based on who they played, and the Ravens' run D Look, the Ravens secondary and Pat's secondary, comparable. But the Ravens run D, as it stands right now with Williams and Pierce and Pecco, the Patriots don't have that. They don't have massive. I mean, Brandon Williams and Pierce are just eat blocks. And it's not going to be, hey, I can hand it to Henry, and he's going to run up the middle and get 6 yards against the Patriots, which is what was happening. So I think Tannehill makes more mistakes here in what should be a raucous environment. This is a much better offense than the Patriots, a much better run defense than the Patriots, a much better quarterback than the Patriots. I mean, you name it. It's not even close. So, I mean, Tannehill passed that test last week, but he didn't do anything. So he's going to have to pass a test this week. I don't think he's ready to do it.
And I'll close this game by saying, reminding people out there that we are once again running our Fade Ravel promotion with our friends at PointsBet Sportsbook. This week, our colleague Darren Ravel taking under 0.5 rushing touchdowns for Lamar Jackson. So if you think Lamar Jackson will score a rushing touchdown and you do want to fade Darren Ravel, PointsBet has boosted the odds on over 0.5 touchdowns from plus 110 to plus 150. Their biggest odds boost so far. Personally, I think Lamar shows up and probably gets in the end zone in this game. And if you're interested in fading Ravel, just follow the link in this episode description for more details. All right, now let's get into our underdog money line parlay. All right, so, we can be pretty quick here. I'll go with the Houston Texans. I totally agree. I think the Chiefs are a better bet first half. I think that they could end up getting conservative weight, and I think the Texans might start figuring things out without Thornhill back there for the Chiefs. It might stress them in ways that they just can't account for with the Texans and all these weapons if Fuller's healthy. So going with the Texans as my money line dog.
You're not even going to mention we hit a 12-1 money line parlay last week.
Ooh, oh, okay. Well, I didn't realize it was 12-1.
And you had the Vikings.
Oh yeah, so we nailed the two upsets. Like now you're going. We don't agree on this other one because I know you're going to pick. But
yeah, well, I'm going with the Vikings, and I already gave a lot of my reasonings, and I'll just say, I'll just end it with a story. 1987, the Vikings went to the Superdome in the wild card round and beat the Saints. The next week against the 13-win 49ers, quarterback Wade Wilson, as more than a touchdown underdog, went to San Fran and beat Joe Montana, who was benched for Steve Young, and the Vikings went to San Fran and won it. Repeat of 1987, the Vikings go out there, hand Jimmy G a loss in his first playoff start. Skull.
I mean, you just compared Jimmy G to Joe Montana, so I don't even need it. That's all I'm going to say about that one. But
by the way, go look up that game. There's like 19 Hall of Famers on that 49ers team that lost. It's one of the biggest upsets in playoff history.